community involvement, education, and inspiration. NASA owes its mission success to thousands of dedicated men and women at the agency's centers, facilities, and headquarters. We now look back at the top stories of this year at NASA.
New leadership. In July, former astronaut Charlie Bolden took the agency's helm.
Today, we face a crisis of opportunity. I ask each of you to join with President Obama, me, and the NASA team that I hope to lead with your confirmation in partnership with Lori Garver in turning these challenges into opportunities.
Bolden, NASA's first African-American administrator, was joined by Lori Garver, who serves as his deputy.
Space program is for all of us. Our government space program must be responsive to the American taxpayer in order to be meaningful and sustainable.
It's the president. In 2009, NASA was given several unique opportunities to highlight its work. The inaugural parade in Washington, a special telescope night at the White House, and a presidential chat during STS-119.
Hello, Commander, can you hear us?
A video conference between President Obama and the shuttle and station crews also highlighted the mission. Members of Congress and Washington, D.C. area school children joined with the president in offering congratulations and asking questions about space travel.
What about fitness requirements these days?
The International Space Station just recently incorporated a new fitness machine. It's a very, very fancy workout machine you see in a gym, but it's called the ARED, and we can do a lot of good exercise on it.
Discoveries. NASA made headlines with new discoveries. A new moonlet embedded within Saturn's G-ring by the Cassini spacecraft. The fast pace of Arctic ice loss. Buried ice on Mars.
New findings about frozen water on Mars come from scientists using instruments on the Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter, MRO. The orbiter discovered bright subsurface ice exposed by meteorites at 5 new Martian crater sites. All 5 sites are located midway between the Martian equator and North Pole, a latitude much lower than scientists predicted.
2, 1. Main engine ignition and liftoff of the Atlas V rocket with LRO Alacross, America's first step in a lasting return to the moon.
And the LRO Alcross mission helped confirm the findings of other NASA spacecraft months earlier.
What we're going to talk about today is truly a major advancement in our knowledge of the water content on the surface of the moon.
The polar caps of the moon contain more water molecules than scientists had first believed. Researchers confirmed this discovery by comparing data collected by NASA instruments flying aboard 3 separate spacecraft. The Moon Mineralogy Mapper, M-Cubed, aboard Chandrayaan-1. Epoxy, the spacecraft repurposed after its role of observer in the Deep Impact mission of 2005. And the VIMS instrument on Cassini.
This is not what any of us expected a decade ago, but widespread water has been detected on the surface of the moon.
Also found in the lunar soil was hydroxyl, a molecule consisting of 1 oxygen and 1 hydrogen atom.
This was thought to be impossible, to have water on the surface of the moon in hot sunlight, especially at the equator, let alone the higher latitudes.
Water on the moon doesn't mean lakes or even puddles, but rather molecules of H2O and hydroxyl interacting with rock and dust in the top millimeters of the moon's surface. In fact, 1,000 pounds of lunar surface material would yield only a 16-ounce glass of water, but that's still more than scientists had expected to find.
Currently, there are no complete explanations for this phenomena, and I'm sure the observations from M-Cubed and other spacecraft in the next several years will continue to bring out more questions that need to be answered about this phenomenon.
Missions update.
And liftoff.
In 2009, new NASA missions like WISE and Kepler were launched.
3, 2, engine start, 1, 0, and liftoff of the Delta II rocket with Kepler.
The spacecraft will now spend 3.5 years steering at more than 100,000 stars in our Milky Way galaxy.
We are actually seeing light from the star itself.
Kepler mission scientists say now that the spacecraft has been calibrated and checked out, The new data it's providing about one previously known exoplanet has them awestruck.
Others entered new phases of discovery.
After more than 5.5 years of probing the cool cosmos, NASA's Spitzer Space Telescope is entering its new warm mission. Spitzer has run out of the liquid helium that's kept its infrared instruments chilled, but the slightly warmer telescope will still have 2 channels of its infrared array camera operating at full capacity, allowing Spitzer to continue unveiling the far, cold, and dusty universe unobservable invisible wavelengths.
If you're looking at regions that have a lot of gas and dust in it, for instance, the infrared radiation will penetrate much further through that material, whereas visible radiation will be blocked out.
Nearly a year after its launch, NASA's Interstellar Explorer showed it was doing its job.
What we've observed with IBEX is this really narrow ribbon of strong emission, lots of particles, lots of neutral atoms coming in from the interaction at the edge of our heliosphere, the edge of our solar system.
Of course, 2009 saw the Hubble Space Telescope made better than ever by a talented team in space.
Atlantis, on at the 90.
Houston, Atlantis copies, on at the 90.
Main gear touchdown.
With the 5th and final Hubble servicing mission declared a rousing success, the crew of STS-125 has returned safely to Earth, leaving the world's most famous and powerful space-based telescope better than ever.
This is a really tremendous adventure that we've been on, a very challenging mission. Hubble isn't just a satellite, it's about humanity's quest for knowledge.
The refurbishment of the 19-year-old observatory, first launched in 1990, required 5 spacewalks of intense work and sometimes unwelcomed problems.
See no motion on the A-latch bolt.
A frozen bolt provided one of the mission's more difficult moments for spacewalkers John Grunsfeld and Drew Feustel on EVA-1. That duo performed 3 spacewalks.
Yeah, I'm on the bolt. That's good. I'm in a good spot.
Mike Massimino and Mike Good, the other 2. With the support of Atlantis Commander Scott Altman, pilot Greg Johnson, and robotic arm operator Megan MacArthur, the 4 spacewalkers accomplished all mission objectives, adding to Hubble 2 new science instruments, repairing 2 others, and replacing hardware to extend the telescope's life at least through 2014. As he ended his final close encounter with a telescope, Grunsfeld, a veteran of 3 Hubble servicing missions, said his goodbyes.
As Drew and I go into the airlock, I want to wish Hubble its own set of adventures, and with the new instruments we've installed, that it may unlock further mysteries of the universe.
Less than 4 months later, John Grunsfeld got his wish.
What Hubble has done, it's enabled our hearts, our minds, our spirits to travel throughout the solar system, even billions of light years, to the very beginning of time almost.
The first images produced by the Hubble Space Telescope since it was refurbished last spring were unveiled at NASA headquarters. Hubble was upgraded with state-of-the-art science instruments when the STS-125 crew visited the orbiting telescope in May with Space Shuttle Atlantis. The images confirmed that Hubble is more powerful than ever and could continue doing world-class science into the next decade.
We were down to 3 operating channels, instrument channels on Hubble. Today we have 13. We have 6 fully operating instruments today.
The reason we're going to see the Hubble New Beginning is because all of us in this room, and many around this country and many around the world, have been part of Team Hubble that have helped design Hubble, fix Hubble, launch Hubble, keep Hubble operating, and I want to pay tribute to them.
Among those joining Maryland Senator Barbara Mikulski for the new images unveiling was NASA Administrator and former astronaut Charlie Bolden, who piloted Space Shuttle Discovery on the STS-31 mission that launched Hubble in 1990.
This great instrument has captured the imagination of people everywhere, especially the youth across our great nation and around the world.
NASA scientists discussed the importance of the imagery, and the STS-125 crew made clear their satisfaction with the photographic fruits of their labors.
We're fully confident the camera is working as it was intended to work, and we're eagerly looking forward to see what other astronomers are going to do with it over the next 5 years.
To work on a project like Hubble is really a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. To get to do something that's really meaningful, that has a great impact to science, to help answer and help unravel some of the questions like literally where do we come from and what's our place in the universe. It's been